One of the most unlikely video game mashups is back with Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope, taking Mario, all of his Mushroom Kingdom comrades, and their Rabbid alter egos on a broad new interstellar adventure to fight off the invasive corruption of Cursor. But the big question is whether or not it can strike the same vein of crossover gold as the original. There's a lot about Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope that, were it not for the familiar cast of characters and franchise mashup, would have you thinking that this was a completely different game series. It's still a turn-based tactical game, but so much of how it plays and the way that it tells its overarching story is completely different and new. At the heart of the game is a new combat system. The original Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle quite strictly adhered to the XCOM formula. Even though you had different options that expanded what you could do with dashes, pipes and various different abilities, you were still relatively restricted with a movement grid and action points and turn order. Sparks of Hope, however, ditches the grid in favour of completely free movement, allowing for much greater flexibility in how you get around the battlefield. It is transformative. You can now really finesse all of your movements and actions in Sparks of Hope, specifically around the ability to boost jump off a friendly character and then glide using Beepo for a few seconds. You can move your characters as much and as often as you want, within a particular radius from their starting position, and with the help of some overlays that means that you can swap between characters, launch them in the air and rapidly move across the map, then switch back to the character, move them around again, do the same with another, and this helps you to really rapidly move through the map. The only thing that will stop a character's movement, most of the time, is firing their weapon. There's an added flexibility to the character abilities as well, thanks to the introduction of sparks. Each character comes with a specific weapon of their own and a character ability, putting them firmly in set roles and archetypes. Mario is a bit of an all-rounder with his twin pistols and Overwatch. You've then got Rabbid Peach, which is the sole healer that you have throughout the game, and there's Rabbid Luigi and Rabbid Rosalina, who've got powerful debuffs and status effects. Augmenting these are the Rabbid Loomers, known as Sparks, who add additional buffs and abilities to what a character is able to trigger, generally adding an elemental effect to a particular weapon, pulling off a specific range-based status move, or dealing damage in an area of effect. Each character can have up to 2 sparks attached to them, and you can swap these around between every battle, so you can really tailor them to the particular situation. Setting up your team can be really quite important. You get to view the battlefield before you step into the fight, and after maybe about 4 or 5 hours you'll have to really start looking for elemental resistances and weaknesses of the enemies that you're facing. You'll want to figure out if you want to have a sniper like Luigi, or need to clear out hordes of Goombas with the widespread shotguns of Peach and Rabbid Mario. Typically, you can take any 3 characters that you like into a fight. You're not always having to take Mario anymore, but some levels and battles will be for specific character sets or throw in an extra curveball, and this really helps to encourage a little bit of exploration and diversification of your team builds. Outside of bosses, there's around half a dozen different enemies that you'll have to face off against. They're new creations for this game, blending rabbids with different animals. So you've got snipers that are a bit wolf-like, and when they go into Overwatch they do a little triple yowl into the sky. You've got squashers, which are pig-like rabbits with thwomps on their back, and now have a nasty leaping attack which the smashers didn't have in the first game. And then there's often some kind of elemental variation to them as well. Having these straightforward enemy types does allow the game to kind of focus on more scenario styles of battle, whether it's a quick puzzle-like fight, survival fights, pushes to reach an end zone, or the larger multi-stage levels and big boss battles. There's more scope for mixing things up in this regard, thanks to the open worlds that you explore. Battles are now bespoke levels, and you load into them and they float in a void, instead of being built into the wider world. Each planet that you visit has 2 main objectives to complete, dispelling the dark mess gloop that has corrupted key parts of it. As you explore and clear the corruption though, you'll start to find and unlock optional side missions and battles, a handful of environmental puzzles and quirky little challenges. You can really choose which battles to engage with and when, able to run away from the minions as they meander around on the overworld, and skip past entire encounters because of this. Beepo gains new abilities to trigger and destroy marked blocks and walls, as well as to reveal things that are hidden from view in the world. There's plenty of reasons to head back to earlier worlds and find all of the collectibles thanks to this, though it will likely feel more important to fully clear worlds and all of the optional content when you're playing on the hardest difficulty. The game's still fairly straightforward and easy on regular difficulty, but this can be tailored to different skill levels, and some of the toughest fights are hidden away behind completing a world's side quests. Everything is wrapped up in a nicely mysterious story. Curse's sudden invasion has thrown the Rabbids worlds into disarray, and part of your efforts will be to restore the quirky Warden characters back to their full stature. There's also Edge, an original Rabbids character, and she seemingly has some kind of connection to Curse's spark hunting minions that you fight against as you go. All of this is geared towards younger audiences, so there's not really any kind of fractious relationships or distrust between characters as this kind of revelation is brought to their attention. Even Bowser is welcomed onto the team without really batting an eyelid, even though it's the kind of enemy of my enemy is my friend situation. Perhaps the strangest thing for me in how the game's narrative is presented is the mishmash of dialogue styles. Every character has got dialogue, but where Beepo and the ship's AI Genie are fully voiced, all of the Rabbids will speak with just a little phrase from a particular line of dialogue, and then you have Sparks, Mushroom Kingdom characters and others who make more non-verbal sounds. I find it really jarring to have all three of these presented within a single cutscene, especially when the first game was able to do so much characterization almost purely through animation. Beepo's new voice does very little to endear him to me, though again, it's all skewed towards younger audiences, so I guess I can give it a pass. There's a lot that is new and different in Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope, creating a much more free-form and looser feel to the game's world exploration and combat alike. Not all of the changes for this game stick the landing though, but the drive to reinvent and evolve is admirable, and this is still easy to recommend for fans of the original and turn-based tactics in general. Thanks for checking out our review of Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope. The game is out this week on the Nintendo Switch, and so I hope that you found this review nice and informative. Before you go, make sure to like, subscribe, do all of the usual YouTube things, and hopefully we will see you again soon. Goodbye!